All right, today we're going to dig into the absolutely brutal collapse of a biotech company called Psyence Biomedical, or PBM. Now, this isn't your typical story about some big scandal or a single failed drug trial. No, this is about how the relentless pressure of market forces can team up with a tough environment to, well, basically erase a company's value from existence. Let's get right into it.
Look at that number. Just let it sink in for a second. Over 99%. That's how much of Psyence Biomedical's value vanished over the past year. It is a near total wipeout. I mean, to put it another way, imagine you invested $1,000. You'd be left with less than $10. It's just staggering.
So, the big question is, how on earth does that even happen? What kind of perfect storm of factors has to come together for a company to lose, for all intents and purposes, everything? Well, that's what we're here to do. Let's break down exactly what went wrong.
The clinical diagnosis for what happened to PBM is something known in the world of finance as a death spiral, and it's named that for a very good reason. It's this horrible, vicious cycle where every single thing the company does to try and save itself just ends up making the problem worse.
So what is a death spiral, really? Think of it as a self-feeding monster. The stock price starts to fall. That fall forces the company to take some pretty desperate measures just to stay alive. But, and here's the kicker, those very actions completely shatter investor confidence, which pushes the stock price down even further. It literally becomes a financial whirlpool, and it's almost impossible to escape.
And here you can see the chain reaction in all its glory. It's a cascade. It starts with the price dropping. That triggers a formal warning from the stock exchange saying, hey, get your act together. To fix that, the company does a reverse split. But all that does is send a huge distress signal to the market. Then, to raise cash, they have to sell more shares, which is dilution. Investor confidence, yeah, that just crumbles. And what happens then? The selling accelerates. You see how each step literally forces the next one. It's brutal.
Okay, to really get this, we've got to zoom in on the specific gears that were powering this whole downward spiral. I like to think of them as the three big value killers.
The first value killer was the constant, nagging pressure from the Nasdaq stock exchange itself. You see, to stay on the big board, you have to follow the rules. And two of the biggest rules are keeping your share price above $1 and maintaining a minimum overall company value. PBM kept failing to do this, and every single time Nasdaq sent them a deficiency notice, it was like a public announcement that they were struggling. That just spooked investors and, you guessed it, triggered more selling. So if you're the company, how do you get your stock price back over that $1 hurdle? Well, the go-to move is something called a reverse stock split. It's kind of like financial alchemy. The company just combines existing shares to artificially pump up the price. So, for example, if you had 10 shares trading at 10 cents each, the company snaps its fingers and says, nope, now you have one share worth $1. The key thing to remember is that no actual value is created here. It's just financial cosmetics.
And this right here shows the huge problem with reverse splits. On the one hand, the company's goal is super simple. We just need to get back in compliance with Nasdaq's rules. But the signal it sends to the market, oh, it's a terrible one. Experienced investors see a reverse split and they immediately think, uh-oh, this company is in serious trouble and they're probably about to sell a ton more stock. It's a move born out of pure desperation, and believe me, the market knows it.
Which brings us perfectly to the second value killer, dilution. You have to remember, PBMI is a clinical stage biotech. It doesn't have a product on the shelves, it has no revenue coming in the door. So, to pay for all its expensive research and those critical clinical trials, its only real option was to raise money by just creating and selling more and more shares of itself.
Let's use a simple analogy here. Imagine the entire company is a pizza. Before they sell new shares, your slice might be, let's say, 1% of the whole pie. But when they need cash, they just bake a bigger pizza and add more slices for new investors. You still have your one slice, but now it's a much smaller piece of the total pie. In this case, just 0.5%. Your ownership stake was literally cut in half, and you didn't even sell a single share.
Now it's really important to get this next part. PBM's problems, as bad as they were, did not happen in a vacuum. The third value killer was a massive, sector-wide storm that they were sailing right into.
Think back a couple of years. Psychedelic medicine was the hottest thing in biotech. But that hype bubble, it burst, big time. As interest rates went up, investors got way less interested in taking big risks on companies that might not have a product for years and years.
All that money fled from speculative biotechs like PBM and ran towards safer, more established companies. And PBM, with its constant need for cash, was one of the most vulnerable when that financial tide went out.
So all of this, it leads us to the core conflict at the heart of this entire story. It's this fundamental tension, this clash between the long, slow, methodical process of scientific discovery and the impatient, short-term, what have you done for me lately demands of the stock market.
You know, what's so fascinating and kind of tragic is that while the stock was getting absolutely hammered, the company's actual science was still moving forward. They were running their phase 2 trials. The whole scientific reason for the company to exist was still there. But the market did not care. All it saw was a company that needed cash right now, a company that was constantly watering down its stock and whose potential success was still years and years away. The market punished PBM for its financial weakness today, not its potential promise for tomorrow.
This brings us to probably the single most important lesson from the PBM collapse. It's a quote that perfectly sums up the brutal reality of this industry. In biotech, science alone is not enough. You can have the most promising drug in the world, but if you can't manage the financial side and the market pressures along the way, that science might never, ever get a chance to prove itself.
And so that leaves us with this final, lingering question. It's really the fundamental challenge for anyone who invests in these early-stage innovative companies, when the finish line is years in the future and the path to get there is just littered with financial landmines. How do you possibly value that promise today? It's a tough question, and in the case of Psyence Biomedical, the market answered it decisively and devastatingly.